Coming up now in 7:15, it is Wednesday morning. Wednesday's finally here. I tried to tell Brandon early this morning that it was Tuesday, but it in fact is not Tuesday. It is Wednesday. If you had heard an earlier weathercast, there's a little something going with the thing that switches one file to the other file, but I fixed it now, so that's good. That's all happy. So it really is the Wednesday weather now.
Sweet.
So, that's all fun.
You're such a good techie, Bernie.
Oh, yeah,
she got
apparently.
It fixed. She got it fixed.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, if people could see this control room, computer screens all over the place. Big difference from when we used to run that board.
You remember when there were those reel-to-reel machines?
Yeah, big tape decks and turntables back in the Stone Age.
In the Stone Age, and those crazy 8-tracks, carts. Mm-hmm. Those are fun.
Then they came out with the new deal, the 8-tracks.
That whole
made things a lot easier, didn't it?
It sure did. In fact, when I would do interviews and whatnot, instead of doing it on the reel-to-reel machine, when I first started here 25 years ago, it was on
cartridges.
On those cartridges which were, and it was funny because you'd have to lift up the top of the machine to turn off a button so it would know where to cue for the next segment. And boy, now you just point and click and you can cut and paste. What a difference.
And then there was a question was always asked. Is it real or is it Memorex?
I think I'm Memorex. All right, 7:17. Our panelists, Warren Caudle, Carol Ross, in studio this morning. And yes, we are driven by Service Chevrolet, a proud sponsor here on our Wingin' It Wednesday. All right, New York, and Trump is the winner. Hillary's the winner. Any big surprises there as far as what you thought? Who wants to go first? I'm going to let Warren go first. Y'all are both giggling, but I'm going to let Warren go first today.
I think the biggest surprise that I saw was the amount of voter fraud that they're claiming and corruption. And I think it's all directed toward the Clinton backers in certain parts of New York City and stuff.
No.
I mean, what a surprise. What a surprise.
I'm shocked, Louis, I'm shocked.
Yes. There's gambling going on in this place, so you're winning, sir. That what I would like to I am interested in seeing one breakdown, and that is, how does the Jewish vote go on this? Bernie is a Jew, and it's just going to be interesting to see how that group breaks down, because they traditionally vote about 95% for Democrats, and so I'm really interested in seeing that. But I don't think there's any surprise as to who won. Mm-hmm. I don't know what was the margin on Hillary and Bernie.
18%.
Oh, yeah.
18. Well, that's more than I really thought it would be. But I want to make one statement right quick before we go any further, and that was about the governor having a chicken coop in the back.
Yes, sir.
I said, I just kind of wish that my former state senator, Albert Guillory, had been elected lieutenant governor. Then he could have put his gamecocks over there with the governor's chickens, and everything would have been a lot better. But now, with that being said, now that they got a chicken coop at the governor's mansion, are we going to be like the Beverly Hillbillies and also have a cement pond back in the back?
I don't know. Those are all good
I guess
questions.
his next campaign photo is going to be like Grant Wood, American Gothic, with the pitchfork. All
right,
in front of the chicken coop. Hey, I'm a regular guy just like you.
All right, Carol, any big surprises to you about New York?
No, in fact, it was interesting because I was watching something, I don't remember what it was last night, where they were doing statistics and all. I mean, it's Trump's home state. Yeah. Come on, he's got a lot of investments there. He's employed a lot of people there. Was anybody surprised, that he was going to win the state? No, but the margin, according to what I read, was not even as much as Ted Cruz won his state, and a far greater number of voters in Texas voted. So, I mean, you got that dueling thing there. Everybody thinks it's so inevitable that Trump will get the nomination. I don't think anything is inevitable this year. Nothing is inevitable this year. And the fact that John McCain made this statement that he's not even going, well, did the tree fall in the forest? Did anybody hear it? Who cares if John McCain goes to the convention or not? He hates both of the front runners. He's not in control this year. Lindsey Graham is holding his nose and saying he's going to vote for whoever. He'll support Ted Cruz, whom they have ridiculed and blocked at every move. The only reason Cruz is doing as well as he is because he has fought the establishment. He calls him the Washington cartel. He's absolutely right. So whatever, and the polls that everybody says whoever gets the most votes should win. That's not always the way it goes, but that's how people are feeling right now because they're tired of the insiders controlling it for the rest of us. So this is going to be and I give Trump, I've always given him this this benefit of the doubt that he's been the disruptor. But look who he's got now. Now he's brought in the ultimate insiders. Paul Manafort, is going to manage his convention just like he did for Gerald Ford when they blocked Ronald Reagan back in '76. That was Paul Manafort managing that convention. So this is going to be interesting. Nothing's guaranteed this year. And I think it's kind of good. I think it's good because in years past they just go into the room, they pick a candidate, and it's all over by now. This is great. This is getting a lot more people engaged, a lot more people involved, paying attention, and you can decry the two front runners for all you want. But they both have great attributes going for them, at least I think on the Republican side. I'm not so sure on the Democrat side. But I'll give it to Bernie too. I mean, he comes off as a heck of a lot more authentic than Hillary Clinton does,
Warren, you had a couple of other thoughts?
The main thing that strikes me about this whole election, which I've said from the outset, it's different than any of them has ever been, especially in my lifetime. But what you've got right now is coming down to 3 out of the final 4 are anti-establishment
exactly.
people that the establishment wants them not out of the race, they want them dead. And that you got all these younger voters that are far and away, more of them are going for Bernie Sanders than they are the old woman. Than they are Hillary.
Hey, careful.
And
careful.
And that.
By the way, Freudian
slip.
You know why they wonder about the young people going for Bernie Sanders? Because he lived with his parents until he was in his 30s, I think. I don't think he had a real job until he was in his 30s.
Whoa. 41, I think, he had his first job. But anyway, the one thing about, they're so disenfranchised and all these voters on both sides of it. Just like yesterday with the deal that the Attorney General said they're going to actually do an investigation into a lot of that voter fraud and such stuff. Is that these young people are going out there pushing for Bernie and all that, and then they're saying their votes really don't count either. Is that the superdelegates and all that are taking it away from them. And that, there was a guy on television this morning or whenever it was. I can't really call his name, but his first name is Carl and his last name is Grove.
Carl Wander.
But he did make an interesting point. We were talking about in New York when you got these congressional districts that had 176,000 Republican votes and one 160-something thousand. And you got these others down in the middle of New York City that have 13,000 Republican voters, and that they have as many delegates that they're going to send there as those other districts do. I mean, the whole thing is I think that Trump, it's a rigged deal. Bernie Sanders says Wall Street is rigged, and this is just as rigged as Wall Street. That is why I think that there may be some huge shakeups going on after this election cycle is over with.
Coming up now on 723, we will close out this topic coming up in just a couple of minutes. We got Todd Starnes on the way, but first. Coming up now on 729, just a minute and a half or so here, and we're going to just one final wrap up to that question about the primary in New York. I want to know from you two folks, from Warren, Caudle, Carol, Ross, what you guys think. I mean, Donald went back to New York. He stayed in the home state. He kind of calmed down a bit. Is this a reset? That's what a couple of different folks suggested yesterday, that it's a reset for Donald.
Well, all those insiders are now running his campaign, so yeah, it's a reset. They're telling him they're going to manage him. They're going to groom him. He's going to become more like an insider.
Interesting. Warren, do you agree with that?
I do not believe there's anybody on earth who's going to manage the Donald. And I think what it's showing is that the guy's got a practical side to him, just like he is in business when he said some things have to be done to get to the finish line.
So you think he's going to build the wall, right?
That's what I'm doing.
And he's going to get Mexico to pay for it.
I will take him any day over these bogus politicians.
Wow. All right, we shall continue with our topics for Wingin' It Wednesday on the way. Brandon's got to look at news. As far as traffic goes, we have Pinhook at Oil Center Drive, and West Willow at North University. That's West Willow at North University. Wingin' It Wednesday brought to you by Service Chevrolet Cadillac at 1212 Ambassador Caffrey. Got Wingin' It Wednesday. Part 2 coming up now. It's being brought to you by Service Chevrolet Cadillac. You can find all of the great vehicles that you're looking for, whether you're looking for a crossover vehicle, an SUV, want a great truck. There are tons to choose from over at Service Chevrolet. You can check it out, Service Chevrolet Cadillac, 1212 Ambassador Caffrey. You can go online, servicegm.com. It's Louisiana's #1 choice for Chevrolet. They have the largest Chevrolet inventory in the state. state. So whether you want a Suburban or you're looking for a Chevy Tahoe, maybe an Equinox or a Traverse or a Trax, you'll have hundreds of different vehicles that you can choose from. Over 300 cars to choose from, over 350 trucks. It is the largest selection in the state. So get in a vehicle that is perfect for you today and that's awesome for you. If you're looking for Cadillac, you will get everything that you are looking for. A stylish crossover vehicle, a Cadillac SRX. You can find it. Over 50 to choose from. You can check them out today over at Service Chevrolet Cadillac, 1212 Ambassador Caffrey. Get the vehicle that fits your life, the one that you need. Check them out today at servicegm.com. It is Wingin' It Wednesday. We continue with our panelists this morning, Warren Caudle, Carol Ross. All right. Let's talk real quick about John McCain. I'm not going. I'm just not going. 2008 Republican presidential nominee will be a no-show at this year's GOP convention. Senator McCain telling Politico he'll be too busy campaigning for re-election to attend the Cleveland convention. McCain, no fan of Donald Trump or Texas Senator Ted Cruz, the top two Republican candidates. So we hinted at this earlier this morning, but I'm going to let Carol go first on this one. Carol?
Ho-hum. Really. I'm serious about that. And first of all, how long has he been in the Senate? Can these guys ever let go? He's running for re-election. He's in his 70s, right? He's what, 76, 77?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Can they ever let go?
I don't think so.
It's ridiculous. I think he's got to be, I'm sure he's been elected since 1980 at least. So he's been in there about 36 years, maybe close to.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long amount of
time. And things have not gotten appreciably better. So I would say maybe it's time to retire to his little chicken farm. Maybe you should put a chicken coop in his backyard.
They, that I said a long time ago, well, it's about a year ago, John McCain announced that he would not be returning to the Senate. And they want to know how that came about. I said, because he sent me an email that said, Dear Warren, I know that I cannot win this election without your support. And I said, well, that just confirms it, because by God, he is not going to get my support. He
so
will not be going back to the Senate. So I guess that's one of the reasons why he decided that he has to stay in Arizona and campaign, But on the other side of it, though, that it's a welcome vacuum for the Republican National Convention that he will not be there. I don't think that W. Bush has made one since he left office, and that was also a welcome vacuum. And that, that these people, as Carol said, they can't let go. And that he is in a fight for his, quote, political life. But John McCain is just one of those people who just really and truly defies logic. When Trump came out and said the bad things he said about him, about not being a hero and blah, 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 I posted a thing on Facebook. It was a 12-minute video that was done by people who served in the POW camp with him, people that served with him in the Navy, and people who served with him in the Senate. And two of them I happen to have met. And one of them was former Senator Bob Smith from New Hampshire. And, man, the things that all those people said about John McCain were just scathing. And I said, when you sit there and look at him and what he's actually done, and how in the hell he ever wound up being on the national ticket? When was that, 2008?
Well, I won't take that away from his service. I will never take that away from somebody. I mean, he did his time, and he spent all that time in the Hanoi Hilton, and he didn't get the early release.
He didn't have any say-so about taking the early release.
I know you've said that before, but whatever. He was there. He did his service, so I honor him for that. But this is, just go away.
Coming up now.
Quiet, just leave.
Coming up now on 7:43.
Do not go gentle into that good night.
Wingin' It Wednesday, our panelists Carol Ross and Warren Caudle. All right, gotta ask you guys.
Wait.
Yes?
Wait. I thought it was much more instructive last night to watch the PBS special on Shakespeare's tomb, because it is the 400th anniversary of his death. He died in 1616 on the date of his birth, by the way. And it's the 400th anniversary, and they did a fascinating show on, even analyzing his will. And, just a great show. If they rebroadcast it, you should watch it.
Watch that one.
The man has had an incredible impact on our language, on our perspective, and that sort of thing. So I'm a particular fan of Shakespeare. I have been since I was a teenager.
You know, the couple of professors at UL years ago when I was going to school, they spent a lot of their time trying to figure out, because they had a different theory about who Shakespeare was, who actually wrote Shakespeare's works. And you know, how many different theories are there about that?
Don't let them fool you. There was a William Shakespeare, and he did return to Stratford-on-Avon. Yeah, it wasn't, you know, one of the lords, or, you know, because he did have the education. He did travel. He had his experiences in London. And one of the best movies I've seen that was strictly a made up sort of thing, but took some basis in fact as to the feuding theater companies and that sort of thing, is Shakespeare in Love, which was a great movie. I mean, you know, so much of it was fiction, but it was a great movie anyway.
Right,
okay, I'm off my...
That was beautiful though. Speaking of school topics, standing for the pledge, not standing for the pledge. The courts have been clear that you don't have to stand. What started this is a student at Acadiana High, a junior, doesn't want to stand, felt ridiculed. ACLU comes in from Louisiana on the side of this person who doesn't want to stand at the pledge. It's been a very controversial issue throughout our community. But just wanted to get your thoughts about it, what you guys were thinking in this realm. Warren, would you like to start?
Well, you know that, and like everybody else, I guess I have somewhat mixed emotions on the thing, but you know, it used to be codified in federal law of some of the things that you did and did not do as a citizen of this fine country. And I do believe that whenever we nationalize a person, they become a citizen, I think one of the things they do is they do pledge allegiance to this flag. And I know I have been in meetings before where they were having a pledge of allegiance and there were some foreign visitors in there, and they also recited along with the Americans.
Wow.
You know, which you know, just out of respect, I guess, but they're certainly not supposed to. But anyway, going back, it's this old thing, you know, about I do my thing, you leave me alone, and on and on and on. I guess that the courts have cleared the way that you don't have to do it. Then that's probably, I mean, all right, that's true, that's okay. But on the other hand, I mean, you know, it's just that why do we waste time with these yo-yos like that? You know, that you've got going to public school, paid for by tax money and all this, that, and other. You know, you don't want to live life of American in this country, then go to private school.
He did.
You did?
Yes. He came from private school to public school.
You know?
Yeah.
Carol, your thoughts?
I tell you, this is one of those stories you just hate. You don't even want to talk about this, because a pox on both their houses. The fact that this young man didn't want to stand to say the pledge, you know, the court cases go back to 1943. He didn't have to stand to say the pledge. That's been protected. It's protected speech. The teacher probably went too far in ridiculing him over and over and over again, and singling him out. So I think it was handled. I just don't like either side of this whole equation. I really, and that's why we have a First Amendment. And it really is striking that here we are in the legislature having to pass an act to protect pastors, you know, because there have been, you know, there are little hints here and there that we're gonna get those pastors if they get too political in their sermons, you know. Well, you know, you go into certain churches in this country and it's all political, believe me. So, you know, the fact that they had to pass this act to protect the speech of a pastor, you know, and to protect their religious rights. So we have this protected already from this student. There's no question this kid is going to get First Amendment protection, and good. The First Amendment is not for pretty speech. It's not for speech we agree with. It's for ugly speech that we don't like. And I don't like this kid didn't stand and say the pledge, but it's every right of his to do it. I don't like the teacher calling him out, but I understand why he did, you know, and so, you know, it's just, back to Shakespeare. A pox on both their houses. 7:48 this morning. Wingin' It Wednesday on the way. Another interesting topic, and that's that survey they did from the Manship School. We'll get into that on Wingin' It Wednesday as our final topic is on the way. And 232-1542 if you would like to call into the show. Still Pinhook at Oil Center Drive. That's Pinhook at Oil Center Drive.
Coming up now on 751. All right, time for a comment from a listener concerning the issue about the flag. David, you had a comment? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, is this is it going on right now that the kids don't have to stand up?
Well, according to the courts, yeah, you don't have to stand. You don't have to say the pledge and you don't have to stand.
So how many kids go to school and their dad or mom's in the military? What if they decide to stand?
No.
Is it going to be an issue towards them, like, why are you standing and everybody else is sitting?
Well, no, there's only one kid in a junior class that's not standing. So the majority, 99% of the people are standing up. It's just, this one kid, and it's his right under our First Amendment. So it's not,
What is going on with kids today?
Yeah, good question.
Well, no, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
David, I think that's the underlying question for a lot of issues that go on. But the court cases go back to like 1943. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's the way it is. We have our First Amendment right, and the kid can do that. But as Warren said, here he is getting all the freedoms, all the protections of a free country, and he doesn't want to pledge allegiance to the flag. Well, la-di-da. That just really aggravates the heck out of me. It aggravates the heck out of me that I have to defend this kid's First Amendment rights. But I do.
All right, going back to the phones. Hi, you're up next. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, honey.
Hello, Stan.
Hey, I was just going to comment on Mr. Warren about what's the name? The senator from Arizona there.
Oh, John McCain? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew a guy who used to say, don't leave mad, SOBs, just leave.
Oh, thank you, Stan.
But I didn't even know that he does have serious opposition this time?
He actually had pretty good opposition 6 years ago.
Yeah,
and he squeaked it out.
Yeah, she kind of blew it, though.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, back to the phone lines. Hi, caller, you're next. Go ahead.
The comment that I have about the flag, if you can't stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of the country that you live in, go find a country that you can pledge allegiance to their flag and move to it.
All righty. Well, thank you for those thoughts. Back to the phone lines. Hi, you're next on Wingin' It Wednesday. Please go ahead.
Yes, we always want to blame the kids, but it's adults. That's the problem. The adults in his lives and just the adults, because the kids don't know anything but what they see from the adults. So,
all right.
And I thought I knew a lot about organizations like that, but where did this kid find this organization, the Apanyani Humanist Society? Of course, then reliably the ACLU weighed in on it. But I mean, where did they find this bunch?
I'm not sure.
And the gentleman's right. I mean, he had to hear that from his parents, wouldn't you think? Yeah.
I saw that name. I'd never heard of the group before, but that doesn't mean anything. But, talking about the ACLU, I said something about it to a friend one time. He said, yeah, but the ACLU really does serve a good purpose, because every once in a while they show us just how incredibly stupid some of us can think.
All right, speaking of what people think, the Manship School, they do an annual survey this year. They did a variety of different issues. One of the issues was about Confederate monuments. More than 70% of folks said don't remove the monuments. So let's start on that part of the issue. Carol, what did you think about that? Were you surprised by those numbers being so high, or
not on the monuments? Actually, they said 47% of black residents in Louisiana think the monuments should not be removed. So I think that's a pretty high percentage right there. This is a non-issue. Why people, just keep wanting to divide rather than unite is beyond me. The statues have been there. They're whether some of those people are worthy of statues or not, I don't know. But we have buildings in Lafayette that are honoring people that maybe some other people don't relate to. Rosa Parks, that's not been my experience. My grandparents came over here in the early 1900s. I don't know anything about that. I lived through, civil rights era. It had a deep impact on my life. I'm glad we have a building named for Rosa Parks. I'm glad we have a building named for Clifton Chenier. I think these kinds of issues are just divisive. And the fact that 47% of black residents think, that it's a non-issue too, they have bigger issues they have bigger things to deal with in the black community, and I can understand why they don't. How does this materially impact their lives for the better? It doesn't.
All right, Warren, your thoughts?
You know, I agree. There was nothing startling about the 74% of the people in Louisiana don't want the thing moved. Don't want to move. Carol brought up the thing about Rosa Parks and Clifton Chenier. There's one thing I happen to know about Clifton Chenier deal is when they did the Clifton Chenier building under former parish president Walter Como, there was all of these fine dignitaries and politicians and all of this stuff who were gathered there for the opening and dedication of that building, and there was one person who was not invited to go, and that was Clifton Chenier's widow. Mm-hmm. And that just tells you how deep that some of these people think, you know, that they want to get up there and take all of this credit and get all the limelight and had not a damn thing to do with anything that these people lived for and worked for. And Carol says that, you know, these buildings named after people you may or may not like, and you know, we also have a parish in Louisiana named Jefferson Davis Parish.
What are you going to do about that? Look at all the streets that are named.
But one of the things that you got to look at, if we go back, I think a lot of it goes back to the 1960s and the counterculture and all of that stuff, is that we basically started a war on every kind of an institution in the United States of America. When you look back there, we had all these groups that started coming out there and started opposing all of these things that were good, you know, the different religious institutions, they all started after them and on and on and on. One group, the Southern Baptists of all things, started after the Masons and the Shriners, you know, who have 23 hospitals that treat people absolutely free of charge. You know, 19 for crippled children, 3 burn centers in the United States, and they went out there claiming that they needed to be shut down and all this. You know, I mean, it's like, where do these damn people come from?
Well, if you want to destroy a country, you first start by erasing their history, for better or worse. You know, and obviously we have problems in our history, but it is a great country nonetheless.
Warren Caudle, Carol Ross, as always, thank you for your time on Wingin' It Wednesday. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Go Cajuns.